All right, folks, so frequently asked question, is it the right time to buy a condo in Toronto's market in fall of 2025? Well, the answer is not as simple as you might think. However, I do believe that it's not the right time, and there are definitely reasons for it, and we will unpack it in this particular video. So I want to focus on an investor first, because that will determine how healthy our current market is, right? And the reason is, if someone with 20% down on a property, which is a healthy down payment, can achieve a positive cash flow, that means that our current market conditions, pricing, need and want will accommodate the actual market value and everything else, and it will make sense. So when we start unpacking, you will see that it's not making sense whatsoever on so many levels. I also want to include that the inventory is definitely adding up and stacking up extremely quickly, and it's getting to the point where I believe that the comeback for the condo market is maybe a decade out, maybe 2 decades out, right? Like, I don't know, because there are thousands upon thousands of units on the inventory, and more pre-construction occupancy units are getting to the market, like being online on the market, whether they're sold on MLS, whether they're sold privately, whether they're sold on an amendment, right? It doesn't matter how they're sold, but it's just, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? So on that note, I'm right here in Port Credit in Mississauga. Beautiful. Behind me, you see Lake Ontario. If you've been here before, you know exactly where I am. But I just want to talk about this particular building for a second, right? So on the second floor here, a condo was for sale. Okay, stunning location, stunning building, everything makes sense. The condo itself on the second floor is somewhere between 25 to 2,700 square feet, and they were trying to sell it for nearly $3.9 million. Guys, are you kidding me right now? Like $3.9 million, right? Obviously, with so many price reductions and all of that stuff, they have managed to rent it for a whopping $9,000 per month. Now you say, well, okay, so it makes sense. At least they got something, you know, something is happening. They're not going under. You know what I mean? They're going to try to recoup or recover some of that investment that they have. Technically, yes, the $9,000, it's there. But if we do that math, right, how much they paid for this particular condo, right, which is insane amount, right, then you have to factor in, you know, monthly maintenance fees that are more than $1,800 per month for that particular unit. Then there are taxes, which is unknown, it's unclear, I cannot see it. And how much is a mortgage on a place like that? So let's assume that the mortgage is around the $3 million mark. Right there, like, it's $6,000 per $1 million to kind of have to ride as a mortgage. So we're talking $18,000 a month, and then nearly $2,000 for maintenance. That's like close to $20,000, plus all the upkeep, plus the taxes, annual taxes and everything else. So who knows, maybe they're close to $25,000 a month to carry as a landlord or an owner, and then you recoup $9,000 back from a tenant. So you see the disconnect. Like I gave you this example, it's obviously out of the proportion. It's not an everyday condo that you see for sale, but just so you see the numbers, and those numbers apply everywhere, right? Like on a $700,000, $800,000 condo, it's the same math. By the time you break down the down payment, by the time you break down the maintenance, and how much that particular tenant is contributing to your monthly payments, it's probably around the 50% mark, depending on the actual initial purchase price, right? So those things are very concerning. However, in some of these other units, if we are looking at an older building, which units are definitely significantly larger, and they, for some reason, not for some reason, I mean, the size matters, right? Whether we want to admit it or not, right? Size matters, right? Like you feel better. Some of these buildings or units, they have smaller windows, they feel like a home, they have the warmth. You don't feel like a fish in a fish bowl, right? Like where all the windows are around you and stuff like that. You have no room to put a couch anywhere, or never mind the TV. Like I've seen people stacking their TVs coming from their ceilings, or a corner pillar unit, they just bolted on it and it looks so ugly. And even this unit that we just passed, like I walk by it frequently and stuff like that, I see these people inside because the windows are so large and they're so big. Like I see every single TV series that they watch, the commercials that they watch. It's just insane, right? Like it's like they're like a storefront almost, right? So, but the whole point of this video is that even on a smaller scale, and even in the older buildings where the actual square footage is much larger, but you have higher maintenance fees, you have bigger deficiencies, you have more things that can go wrong in buildings like that are not like, you know, your AAA building and all of that stuff, right? So all these things matter to your actual cash flow. It matters how much money is left on the table. So even with the minimum, like even if you could today find a condo that it's a good size condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, great price, you have that down payment, even at that point there is an issue. And even if you could make somehow, okay, if you could make your case and you could have that positive cash flow, even if it's $50 a month, right? And you will call it a victory, right? We can all call it a victory, but it will not work because something will break, right? Like a bathroom fan will break. It costs like $150 to $400, right? Something will break, and that will offset that particular investment or that cash flow. So at that point, it almost doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? So it is extremely, extremely risky, obviously, having tenants, dealing with all these things, being like literally being in such a risky situation where everything can turn and go against you. And most people don't have the stomach for it, they don't have the finances for it, and they don't have the ability to push through. So I do believe, and I have been saying it for a long time, for months now, even years, that our condo market in Toronto needs a huge adjustment, needs a huge fix. And some of these prices, some of these towers, some of these locations have to be or need to be adjusted, maybe even up to 50%, right? So I hope you gained something out of this video and it was valuable. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.